Welcome back to the Global Local, and thank you for taking the time out of your day to come hang out with me. For the guys that are new to my channel, welcome aboard, bro. I really hope you get something out of today's video. And for the guys that's been with me for a while, what's going on, man? I hope you're doing well, and I also hope your families are okay out here. I'm on the road, like always, and I do want to talk to you guys about today's topic, which is being in relationship prison. When your kids become leverage against you while you out here in the Philippines. Now, I know this happens a lot in the States. There's a lot of dads out there that really want to be good dads to their children, but for some reason, the mothers of those children use those kids as weapons against them. And being out here in the Philippines, a lot of guys, they don't think it can happen to them out here. And honestly, man, that is not the case. Being a dad should be one of the most meaningful milestones in your life. But when you're an expat in the Philippines and things go sideways, the mother of your children can turn that bundle of joy into pretty much a headache, some emotional stress, and even a financial tug of war. You know, I guess that's like a little wake up call for you guys. Welcome to the international baby mama drama. And it's sad, but at the same time, it happens a lot more than you think. And, I know a lot of people don't talk about it, but you'll be surprised how many guys out here have kids that they can't see and they want to see them. Now, that's not to say that some guys come out here and they have babies and they just completely abandon them. If you have children out here, hey, do me a favor, man. Do yourself a favor and see about your kids, man. They come from you. You know what I mean? But for the guys that are there and they want to be there for their kids, but they can't be there for their kids, they're going through a lot out here. And the international courts are not going to really side with them. Expat dads and Filipino moms, they do part ways, and having a baby with somebody that you pretty much barely know, man, that's more than just child support, in my opinion. That's emotional damage in a whole lot of ways. For many men, the story kind of starts like, the guy arrives in the Philippines, meet this sweet, loving, beautiful woman, sparks fly, maybe a little bit too fast. 9 months later, boom, you're a dad. All right, but here's the thing, man. Having a child in the Philippines doesn't give you rights by default, especially if you're not married. The relationship crumbles, and yeah, you're pretty much out on your own. At that point, the law's automatically going to side with her. All right, in the Philippines, the mother has full custody of the child born out of wedlock unless the court says otherwise. And let's be real, man. If you're a foreigner, you'll be climbing up an uphill battle. I'm just being honest, man. It's not going to be for you, man. All right, you can't force visitation either without a court order. She can pretty much block you out. In the States, you got some kind of something, but out here, man, yeah, man, you got to go through a whole process. If she said you can't see the baby, you can't see the baby. That's just what that is, man. And for guys thinking that child support laws don't exist, they do exist out here, but enforcing them across borders, that setup's kind of tricky. I really don't know how that works, but they do have child support out here. There's a lot of legal loopholes and stuff that they'll put you through dealing with the child support. All right, custody battles, they can be expensive, emotionally draining, and the courts generally, again, they side with the mothers unless you can prove that she's unfit. And good luck with that. You're an expat, she's a local national. There, you get the drift, right? Even if you're trying to be civil, man, you could be faced with all kinds of crazy crap. Maybe she say something like, if you want to see your kid, you need to pay 20,000 pesos first, or something like that. You haven't paid this month, so you can't see your kid. I'm gonna block you. She pretty much blocked you on the phone because ain't nothing you can do about it. Or say something like, my new boyfriend says you can't visit anymore. Things like that happen, man. There's guys that have kids with a woman that has kids prior to his kid and have to deal with that baby daddy drama. You know what I mean? And it's almost like if you start something and you try to defend yourself or whatever, nothing's gonna pan out for you. Being in situations like that, that's enough to make this common expat story turn into a horror story, because it happens more than you think. That pay-to-play parenting, if you want a picture of your kid, it'll cost you, the guilt trip galore. You left us. You owe us. That, man, once she moves on, man, you're the villain. You're the villain. You're rich, tax. They're gonna tax you just because you're a foreigner, And honestly, people here, they assume that you're loaded. That's just the truth behind it, man. So if you're gonna come out here and have a baby, man, you need to make sure that you got a clear understanding of what it's gonna entail if things go bad, man. And I'm only telling you guys this to protect yourself. For the guys that are married out here and they have children, I have children myself. You know what I mean? You have to make sure that you have children with the right person. And even if you separate with this person, at least y'all got some kind of common ground, some kind of agreement, something that you know what, I'm going to be there for my kid, good, bad, or indifferent. It doesn't matter. Allow me to be there for my kid, and things will be okay. You can do what you want, I do what I want, but the kid doesn't have to suffer. Make some kind of agreement like that or whatever. Because when you start separating on bad terms and stuff like that, your child is directly impacted. You have to remember, man, love and lust, man, that's a powerful drug out here, man. It's really powerful, man, and it's pretty much where expats fall flat. They skip over the part where trust values. They try to build things based on things that are valid. Who are you as a person? When we skip past those things like that, we mess ourselves up. All right, you got to ask yourself: do you really know her? Do you know her family? Have you guys talked about parenting values between you two? Not just focused on the beach dates and the barbecues and stuff like that. All right. Can you support a child long term in a country with limited enforcement of parental rights for you? Can you support a child in that situation? You have to ask yourself those questions. All right. If you're already a dad and on bad terms with the mother, I got a few things that you might want to take notes to pretty much help you see your kid. And the first thing I want to talk about is legal counsel. This is pretty much your friend out here. Find a family lawyer or a reputable family lawyer out here that understands the expats cases. You may not win full custody, but you can formalize visitation rights, support agreements, and communication boundaries and stuff like that. And honestly, if I were you, if you're going through something right now, I'll pull out my phone and document everything. I document everything from every word that she says to everything that you just keep your mouth closed and just let it flow. All right, keep records of everything that you sent, anything, man, shady behavior, communication exchanges, you name it. It doesn't matter. Bills, proof of money, things you bought, receipts. Keep contacts and just keep everything, man. All right. Don't take the bait, bro. When emotions flare out here, it's easy to say the wrong thing. Stay calm. All right. Think about the child, not the ex. Build a relationship with your child independently, away from who she is that may be bothering you or giving you a headache, if it's possible. Find peaceful ways to bond with your child directly, bro. Online calls, letters, and visits when it's allowed. Those things can make a big difference over time. What women fail to realize is when your child gets older, they still want to see who their daddy is. And if you are consistent in their childhood, even when their mother paints a picture of you not being consistent, when that child finally gets to you and you can show them that you were really there, their mother was just hiding stuff, bro, you in the win. She got to answer to her problem. She the one that got to answer the questions to this child now, not you, because you told the truth. Now you got a clean slate to build a bond with your child that you tried to build for so many years. Because you got to remember, bro, it seemed like this whole world is against a man having this child, especially when it comes to an entitled woman. All right. If you hadn't had a child out here yet, honestly, man, I hope what I'm saying helps you out and make you make clear decisions before you decide to step into that water. Fatherhood is a blessing, and a lot of these guys are happy out here being fathers out here. All right, but some guys are not. They're going through a nightmare, and so you want to learn from the guys that are going through a nightmare, prevent yourself from going through that same nightmare. It can feel like a huge prison sentence out here, a huge one, and you can't have access to what you need. All right, the stakes are higher. All right, when the legal system, the court norms, and the power dynamics aren't on your side. All right, we're not saying don't have kids in the Philippines. All right, I'm not saying that, bro. All right, what I'm saying is don't make a baby with somebody you barely know. All right, and then you're gonna be shocked when things get complicated. Parenting abroad is a serious responsibility. All right, it's not a side quest in your Southeast Asia adventure. If you're gonna go all in, know your partner. Understand the laws, protect your rights, and most of all, put your kid first, not your pride. All right? That's all that I have for you guys. If you guys have any questions of me, please let me know in the comment section. I'll do my best to answer your questions to the best of my ability. Make sure you love yourself. Love yourself for real. If you have a child out here, love your child. If you think you have a child out here, if you know you got a child out here and you haven't been around that child, hey, reach out and try to talk to the child without. If you want to avoid the mom, I understand, but your child is innocent. All right? Until next time, holla at your boy, man. Peace out, bro.